And welcome back to the Culturally Distinct Podcast Show. I'm glad you guys came back. I haven't seen y'all all week. I'm glad I could see y'all once again. How the old people say in the land of the living. I'm glad you guys tuned back into the show. Today we have a special show for you guys. But before we get started, I'd like to thank you guys who tuned in. I'd like to thank you guys who been hitting me up in the DMs and responding to some of the shows that we had in the past. We had some great guests, and they gave a lot of great information, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to give some great information so we could push the culture forward. But I need you. That's right. I need you to tell a friend to subscribe to the show. If they don't, I'm pretty sure they heard about it, but they haven't looked at it. But if so, I appreciate you guys. So in saying that, we have a special show for you guys today. We have something that's going to put a little money in your pocket, right? Not in the literal sense, but in the figurative sense, right? We're going to put some money in your pocket, but you just got to apply the rules and apply the principles. Today we got this brother. He's a master entrepreneur. He's a high-performance mindset coach. He's an elite business strategist. Today I'd like to welcome to the show Coach John Austin. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. Blessed to be here for sure. I appreciate the opportunity. Always good to give as much value as I can to the people, man.
Glad you could take out, a little time for us on your busy day, because I know you're a busy man and you do a lot of busy things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, Coach, it's okay for me to call you Coach, right?
Yeah, no.
All right, Coach, cool.
Definitely.
Coach. All right, cool. So I want the people to know exactly where you're from.
Originally from Opelousas, Louisiana.
Okay.
Born and raised, country boy. Moved out to the big city 2000-ish, but originally from Louisiana.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. See, shout out to Louisiana. I got to shout out to Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Now look, I love y'all in my Texas. I love y'all, my Texas family. But y'all, I'm just saying, a lot of people that I know from Louisiana are doing big things. We just had to move here, to Texas, because the infrastructure in Louisiana is not really where it needs to be. But shout out to Louisiana. So look, how long have you been here?
2001, 2002, I moved out here from Louisiana. And it's funny because a lot of my frat brothers, shout out to FIA, Zetas out of Louisiana, were moving out here like a couple of brothers at a time. And I moved out, was in West Chase area, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2001, 2002.
Okay, dope. So you've been here over 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
So
Houston's second home.
Right. So you saw the whole business development, the whole structure, the whole everything, how Houston went from it was always a major city, but a smaller major city to a big metropolitan city.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I know you do a plethora of things, right? You do a lot of things, from business to government contracting to, just coaching, mindset coaching, just changing the mindset. We're going to get into all that, before, but I want to start off with the business side of it.
All right.
How long have you been in business?
I got my first minority certification in 2008. Actually, my first DBA in 2006.
Okay.
So it's been 17 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what made you go in that direction?
I was working at Baylor actually as a research coordinator.
Okay.
Doing well. Everything was fine. Had a good 7-to-3 shift. Good money. Flipped houses part time.
Okay.
And I walked in one day and they laid off folks in our department. So I went from that to what am I going to do? And I'm a third generation real estate guy. I was already flipping houses. So I said, you know what? After being depressed for a week, I got to do what I know how to do.
A week?
Just jumped in.
A week, man?
It was rough. It was rough. Because I just had a new kid,
Oh, yeah.
Just bought a house. Things were good, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I can't tell family, oh, man, I'm, this, that. I don't know. What am I going to do?
Right.
Who do I go to? Who do I tell? And I was like, all right, look, let's jump into this thing.
Yeah, that's tough, especially now, well, they're not saying it's a recession, but it is because it had 2 quarters that's been in the red.
Yeah, it is.
But we're in a recession now, and a lot of people have that same story. They lost their job. They're making, say, 6 figures. Say they're making 6 figures this year, and they lost their job. But you said you gave it a week. Individuals now, they deep down, they still in their bed. They can't get out.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I can't just. I mean, that's 7 days. I got bills to pay.
Absolutely.
I can't I don't have the luxury of just being depressed.
Right.
Now, trust me, when I'm out there trying to make those moves, I wasn't feeling great. Talk about fake it till you make it. I was just faking it to get out the door.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was in parking lots just like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this move? So that mindset thing, I don't like some of the generic mindset stuff I hear out here nowadays. So for me, you guys just get in the game and it will change your mind. You have to be hella disciplined.
Right.
To make this thing work, man. And thank God I had that discipline and just push myself to get it done.
Now, speaking of that, I know, this is, like you said earlier, this is like a moment in time where we're talking about a lot business. We have some people that have some good information that goes out. We have some individuals that have some fraud information that goes out, right? So in terms with you, when it came to business, what was your mindset when going forward? Because I know you said you was depressed and you had to get it done. So what was that during that time? I want you to take the viewers back in that present moment. It's like, okay, why this and why now? Well, I know not the now because you lost your job, but why this particular deal?
For me, that's all I knew.
Okay.
So I can lean on social media just for an example, but you see people doing things and they're experts and stuff they haven't done for a while. I don't know what that looks like because where I'm at, you can't go in the street, walk into a business room. They ask you questions back. Social media is interesting. You can say what you want and you kind of take it and run. But you're in board meetings or interviews or talking to the city or whatever. These people know something about the industry.
Absolutely.
So you just can't go out there and say any old thing to somebody. You got to know your stuff. So there's many times I've sat in parking lots and read over my notes, read. There wasn't a whole lot of YouTube, Google like that for me. So I had books, I had encyclopedias, I had data paperwork that you go to Kinko's and print out. I had to know myself because it was up to me to make sure that opportunity was mine when I left out that room.
Right.
And I couldn't go off of anybody else. I didn't have followers to be like, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
There was no likes. It was like, I need you to like me and trust me. So I had to go to meetings and attend this and attend that. The same stuff I teach today.
Right.
So that's all I knew.
Okay. So, it's saying that. So, 'cause I know it's hard, like, to get, especially our attention.
It is.
So what are some techniques that you use, or what did you do to get our attention?
Well, the funny part about it, the first part of my career, it wasn't around us.
Okay.
It was around the Caucasian persuasion, if you will.
Okay.
And there were some, but not a lot. And I'll be honest, there was so few that looked like me in that space. The ones that did look like me, they're like, hey, okay. And they were professionals, so they're like, okay, can you prove yourself? Can you do what you say you can do? Let's talk. So it was late night networking, golf events, whatever, breakfast here or there. And the consistency of it allowed them to trust me. And what I did learn, and when you're in that professional space, it's about, can you do what you say you can do?
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to make this money.
Right.
Because the city needs this and that, and you start learning what people need. And yes, there may be a racism to some things. Some people won't let you in the door. But if you just keep consistent and push through, and you add value to that space, and they know they can count on you, that worked for me.
So that right there, I want to get into that because you said something that was key. You used the term, racism, but I'm gonna use the term discrimination. In a lot of businesses that we start, we do experience a lot of discrimination. Some people say that, as soon as you cross that or open that door, they make the rules. They change the rules, or they push the goalposts a little further. Mm-hmm. Right. So, in your experience, have you ever coached someone, or even with yourself, a self-testimony, have you got into that door and you knew for a fact that you was being discriminated against?
No doubt. There's a Ports to Plains conference that I attended in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech has, at that time they have a PhD program for green energy. Mm-hmm. And I was presenting on some green technology that my company is working on in the commercial space. Still got the polo with Ports to Plains on it. And I walked up to the place, and everybody thought I was a valet driver. He's like, no, I'm speaking. And the guy was like, he calls security over, and I had to call the guy who knew I was coming. And he said, oh, no, Austin, come through. Come on. So he had to let me come in.
Wow.
Introduced me to the head of the conference and said, this is my guy that's speaking, whatever. And they didn't question it, but you can feel the tension of, why are you here?
Right.
Now, once I spoke, the line was wrapped around the corner to talk to me after that point. But it was interesting. And even after that, I was told to my face, we really don't like you here, but you can pass Just keep the straight and narrow, and we'll be okay.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. And I heard that multiple times, here and there, multiple times. You're not really our type, but you're okay. Okay, you're not, and almost I'm not a threat. I'm an asset. Let me kind of work this thing out. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So when I know that and have seen that, I get it. Because they've run things for a while. So to see someone like myself come in, discrimination, yeah. So I prepare my clients when they're walking into certain spaces. Own the room, own what you do, and always make sure that you're making everyone else comfortable. It's not code switching. It's not nothing like that. Be who you are. Be eloquent about your speech, because if we know our history before even coming to this colonizing things that we're in right now, or the way the dominant society is, we still have to know who we are and always present excellence at all times.
Right. That's heavy though, and I think that's like a word, to give our people, because we're resilient.
Very.
Right, we're resilient, but at the same time we're emotional. So emotions and resiliency sometimes
let's talk about it.
They go in different directions sometimes, because especially if I know that my mindset is there, my money is there, I have the discipline, I have the consistency, and I get into this door, and you tell me no. So I'm gonna give you a number. You probably know this number, right? Last year, and I'm talking about private and public, fund money. And we're going to get into the government contracting. But this number, I believe it was $96 trillion that was allocated to companies, right?
Okay.
Private and public. So out of that $96 trillion, the T, not the B, trillion dollars, only 1.2% of that was granted to minority businesses.
True.
So now minority businesses, not saying black, women.
Yeah, all minority groups.
LGBT.
Asian, yes, Hispanic, all of us in one. Yeah,
that 1.2%.
Yes.
So in saying that, that's how wide of a divide of the economic gap it is in this country.
Yeah,
$96 trillion, and we're gonna get out of that 1.2%, blacks. I'm gonna say blacks. We only maybe get 0.8% of that.
Yeah, we scratching. We like this little tick of it. We're not even in the, and really the funny part about it, and I've said this a million times, we're not in the rooms
at all.
We'll hold the key to a Fendi bag, Gucci bag. No disrespect for people that have those things, but the same effort we take to get those tangible things, we need to have the calling card of not just a college degree, it's not that, but a business certification.
Absolutely.
It gets you indoors, and it allows people to work with you based on law, based on mandates that now they even have to meet, and they're upping the criteria amount. It may have been 10% minority for women, now they're upping it to 20%.
Absolutely.
So they're trying their best to get us there, but we have to be, and I'm going to put this on me, get this message out, and thank you for allowing it, for us to get into the room, for us to be on these webinars, in these meetings where we can have the seat at the table to get what's rightfully ours and conduct business accordingly.
Absolutely. And I want to say shout out to Joe Biden, his administration. At least, he made it aware that we are at an economic disadvantage. And some of this money, that $2.2 trillion that he allocated, he is trying to get us, his administration is trying to get us some of that money.
Yeah.
And that's at least let us play fair.
Yeah, and there's enough to play. That's the thing about it, is there's enough to play. And right now, in this recession that we're in this down bear market, that's one thing. But the businesses of the world still need to run.
Absolutely.
And if anything, they need us to be in the room even more so than ever before.
Right.
So I would say to everyone at the sound of our voices right now, we've got to start shifting our thought process and our minds and our eyes on where else can I be, and don't think less than, I'm too small, I can't do that. No, we can ride together as a team.
Absolutely.
We can build that team in cohort. We can buy an existing business and bring that on top of what we're just starting out and have more of an asset to work with. So there's a lot of things we can do that we're not doing.
Spin game over here. See, y'all see Coach over here spin game. Look, I'm telling you, he's talking about building together, working together. Look, that's the same thing Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all those guys, was talking about back in the 70s. But you're talking about it now. I appreciate that. Yeah. So let's fast forward. I know you said something about business certifications and business being certified in business. Mm-hmm. I know I within the pandemic, I know a lot of people started their business, their small business, right? And by starting for small business, a lot of people didn't have their paperwork in place, right? So, which was, you know, a learning experience, but some people did. And some people decided to get into this government game for as government contracting because it was money that was granted to the public if you knew what you was getting into. So you've been doing the government contract thing for how long?
My first contract was 2010.
09. So you've been in this thing for 12 years.
Yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
Right. So first of all, how did you know about government contracting and what made you get into it?
Dead honest, it was a brother that I knew that was a marketing director for a firm, and he was working with a real estate developer, black guy. Cool as a fan. He was a mentor for Deion Sanders at the time because I ended up going to Deion Sanders' birthday party in Prosper. Long story, but yeah, it was a cool thing. In that movement, in that space, going to Chamber of Commerce meetings, etc., there was a white guy in the back. He said, I see what you're doing, but you're not going to get in the door unless you have your paperwork together. And like I do. So no, this paperwork. And he showed me his wife's woman-owned small business certification.
Okay.
And he got me some Crown and Coke. We had some Jack Daniels and everything. He said, I'm going to show you how this works. I like you. I've been watching you. And I always would see him in the back of the room. So long story short, he showed me how to get Hub certified in the state of Texas and how to move and what it was worth and everything. And I still to this day have that certification. The paper's kind of brown right now, but I got it in a binder, same binder I had since then. And he showed me what to do with it. And I was speaking at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. The little brother who's a marketing director said, hey, he called me one Friday. Would you like to come to Dallas? We need a minority developer to help us with this project. I'm like, bet, let's go.
Relationships.
Man, yeah, he heard me a year earlier just speaking, right? So again, that's why I'm so big about being in the room. We got to be in the room. So that caused me to get up there on a Friday. By that Monday, I had a LOI for a contract.
Okay.
We worked another 30, 45 days, 60 days at the most to kind of pull it all together. But that's how it kicked off.
See, and that's relationships. And you know, I talk a lot about relationships on this show. I tell everybody the greatest asset that we have, other than money, is time and relationships. Right? We can't get time back, and we can't buy relationships.
So key.
It's more valuable than money. Right?
It is.
That's game for y'all. For y'all who just tuning in, that's game for y'all.
It is.
So I want to ask you about this. These certifications that because you named 2 names, but I'm pretty sure there are more names to get in this government game. So could you name the actual certifications that they have out there for that you can get?
Yes. One, there's something called self-certification. So for the most part, your local, your city, your state, and even federal, SAM.gov, you can get your minority business enterprise or your historically unutilized business certification on those levels, right? And you want to be credentialed. So it's Houston that we're in. So Houston has the MBE, Minority Business Enterprise certification. The state of Texas has their own. Georgia, Atlanta, Florida, everybody has their own. And then on the federal level, you have SAM.gov, and you can get registered. You register your business there. So that way you're covered across the board. There's also something called a Minority Supplier Development Council. That's the private side. So BMW, Amazon, all your Fortune 500 companies are members of that Minority Supplier Council. So all the ladies out there who have hair products you can work with, Sephora, Bath and Body, Macy's, Blooming, all these companies are part of that council. And they have multiple programs that allow you to go B2B with them. If we can get credentialed in those spaces and start attending those masterminds, those industry days, right, and have those credentials with our plans in place, NAICS codes, capability statements, that kind of thing, now you're operating with the right credentials and paperwork to show what you do. Right. And that articulates, so when you leave the meeting, they have something to show what you are and how you move, and that will start the process.
Right. So I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit. I'm not gonna go in too deep with it because you
it's all good.
The thing is you call out some names, and people that's not familiar with these names, I want you to just briefly talk about it. You said a NAICS code, then you said a capability statement, right? So could you just go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So your NAICS code or your SIC code, NAICS, is your industry code basically. Call it like your EIN or your birth date. It's a code for, if I'm a realtor, that's a certain code, right, for your industry. So you should always know what your NAICS code or multiple NAICS codes that you can fall under. And the capability statement basically is your business resume. Well, coach, I just started my business. I don't have a whole lot. Well, what are you capable of doing? Like, what are you capable, you and your team, your circle,
right?
What are you capable of doing or joint venturing with your team to do? And all those NACE codes and certifications and qualifications, that's your capability statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm a young entrepreneur. I got all my paperwork situated. I got my hub zone and I got my woman's business certification, right? WOSB, right? So I got all that certified. So now I don't know how to get these contracts. So what do I do? Like, I know you named some websites to go to, but how do I actually bid on these contracts? Do I need a proposal? Do I just say, give them a call? Do I email them? What do I do?
We need to start getting into these rooms where you can start building relationships. The relationships with these program managers, with PTAC, et cetera, SBA, et cetera, procurement departments. Houston has a procurement department meeting every month, and they bring out people and they say how to do business with Harris County. They lay out the red carpet, and you need to be there with all your credentials to explain and listen for their pain points and how your business can help them with the needs of the city, of the businesses that you're going to be working around. And if I could add, this time of year, you have the budget for the government cuts off. They stop spending at the end of September.
Okay.
Because the new budget comes out in October.
Right.
So now you want to start going to those project managers, those procurement managers, and saying, hey, I understand that budget's about to end. Where are we at with this? And then you can see what solicitations are there, right? So we want to start going directly to the source, not just Googling and seeing what's available and applying for it. We got to get in people's front door and making those relationships real.
Right. So if I go for his contracts, if I say, well, coach, I think I have a special niche. They don't have a contract for me. Are there certain contracts, or is it a contract for one specific thing? Because I know it's like construction or infrastructure or FAA or whatever. But say if I'm just to give an example. Just say if I'm I lay tile I lay tile on commercial floors. Are there contracts for that?
Yes, they are. There's universities, University of Texas, University of Florida, who have a procurement department. Who just now, UT just put out a webinar. It's 150 some pages of every little bitty thing that they need for the new construction that university systems are doing.
Right.
They're expanding the medical center, this new T3 project. So they need minority trades, all kind. You need to supply the tile, you need to supply the lights, you need to supply the carpet, you need to do the tile. They don't do the work. They need us to do the work.
Absolutely.
So any and everything you can think about, there is a contract potential. And sometimes you can even create your own contract. You can go and say, hey, I see this contract has not been met yet. And you understand the rules of the game, and you explain to them who you are and what you do and what part of that contract can you get as a minority business owner.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So now we talked about the contract. We talking about getting the contract. So we have the contract, but it's like, coach, well, I'm a single parent, and I don't have the funding that I need, right?
Got it.
And I see, coach, you have a business called Bank Ready. So go into that, and then tie it into how can a person get funded if they don't have the actual funds to go into contracting themselves.
Yeah. So Bank Ready was developed really probably 10 years ago. I'm putting it out more because of this whole marketing thing I have to do. I really don't like doing the speaking at all, but I understand that Bank Ready is something that not just for the bank, but bankable to the marketplace. And I've spoken to the regional director for Regions Bank, bankers at Frost Bank, et cetera. The money through the United States Treasury has filtered down to what we call CDFIs, credit unions. They know and they want to do business with minority businesses.
Okay.
They want to give you that capital, that startup capital. We have a license, if you will, or we've taken a course to do commercial lending, commercial funding for real estate and startup businesses, et cetera. So there's lenders out here. I know what the underwriting criteria is, so I'll say, okay, let's take what you're doing. First, please study your market first and know where you fit, how feasible your business model is. And then we know how much funding to go after based on what you're doing.
Okay.
So if you get a contract, you'll know I got 90 to 120 days of payroll that I got to front first. So let's get your credit together. Let's get your credit together. Let's front that payroll first. And our business plan will know exactly how much we need. And then with that purchase order or that contract coming through, it'll pay once it pays out. They do pay out. Sometimes they're a little slow. So that 90, 120 days, that bank can see, okay, you got a contract, you got your numbers together, your credits together. Now let's do this.
Okay.
So there's ways to get that done.
So let me ask you about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Because and I want your honest opinion about this. It's like football. You watch football, right?
Oh, yes.
So they say so the quarterback, everybody knows the quarterback is a person, he always has the ball in his hand, right? He's the lead of the team most of the time. Mm-hmm. They said quarterbacks are born, not made, right? Do you think that's the same thing about an entrepreneur? It got to be something that's in you versus something that you go to school in?
Everybody not built for this.
Okay.
It's just, I've even tried. I try my hardest to pull it out of people. They say they want it, but for those of us who know, to put that work in, I'd rather work 24 hours on me than 8 hours for anybody else. I just can't do it. I mean, if I have to, and I have, put a job in because I understand the outcome that I'm looking for. But for us as entrepreneurs and those who want to be entrepreneurs, you got to be built for that work, man. And I see people that even me, I have some clients that are a little disgruntled sometimes when it's like, no, I need you to do this and that. And they're like, it's we got to get it done.
Right.
So you want the limelight, you want the the flashiness of it, but behind the scenes, when that camera goes off, we got work to get done.
Right, absolutely.
Because, I mean, if we're getting done, we're not getting paid. So for me, if I'm not performing, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
I wouldn't have been referred to you by others, et cetera. So there's a pride that comes into that work, but there's work to be done.
Absolutely.
So not everybody built for it. Unfortunately, I wish it would be more. I think we as a culture especially can, because we can do anything we put our minds to. But if this ain't right and you ain't got that dog in you,
right.
No.
Y'all heard we say that dog. Now look, we ain't talking about sports. You gotta have that dog in you with entrepreneurship too. You just gotta want it. You gotta know it.
Yeah.
You gotta be a student of it. You know what I'm saying? Coach, let me ask you this. As far as principles to business, right? Principles to this business. This because I think business is different. Business 101 is something that, those founding principles are there, but I'm talking about 2022. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to be innovative, right? So what are some principles now that you think are effective going into it?
Heck of a question. We often hear, get back to the fundamentals, even now, and sports as well. My question is, why did we ever leave? Because in this down market, the fundamentals and being airtight with that and just streamlining that process, having a process. When the market is up, you can kind of flex and do what you want. You got room to move. When things tighten up, you have to be able to scale down and streamline. I think that and the ability to pivot like on a dime all day. You may think you're going to start something at 8 o'clock, but you need to be able to pivot at 12, at 2, at 5, before you shut it off and the next day. But it's even having a plan to pivot off of. Some of us don't even have that foundation in place to pivot off of. So I think that and that innovation of looking, because having a plan puts you here, but you got to be able to see in that perspective past where your plan is.
Right.
And plan 3 years down the line and study your market to know where that pivot's going to be.
Right.
That in of itself, I think, is business in knowing how to satisfy the needs of the marketplace. We got to stick to that first, because we get too far outside of that, it ain't working.
Right. Let me ask you about teamwork.
All right.
Do you think it's important to go in by yourself, or it's important to have a team?
If you go in by yourself, you're going to get eaten up. You bet. I got a team. I have coaches and mentors myself.
Why is the team important?
There's nobody that's going to, this self-made stuff, go somewhere with that, man. Self-made nothing. I see it on Clubhouse and other, I'm self-made. No, you're not.
Right.
Somebody put you on.
Right.
Real talk. Somebody had, now yes, there's some people that can get it out the mud and whatever, and you make a lot of it on your own, and sometimes you're by yourself. Mm-hmm. CEO, Chief Everything Officer, I get it. We all been there. But if you think you go do this always on your own, that's a lonely ride. Ain't nobody that good.
Right.
Trust me, nobody is everything. Like, Tim Cook and Steve Jobs. There's a creative and there's an operations guy. There's a marketer. I'm not a marketer. So I put myself around people. Shout out to Deanna Green. I put myself around
Shout
people.
out to Deanna. I forgot about that. Deanna Green. Shout out to Deanna Green.
Deanna,
yeah.
man. Deanna's something else, man. Deanna is a firecracker in the marketplace, and she's good at what she does, right? So seeing that, Obi, right, Chris Senegal, all those, they offer something to a marketplace where if I can help them do something in my space, and they will indirectly end up helping me, now we got a team.
Right.
Football, everything's a team sport, man. Nobody runs a company by themselves.
You can't. It's impossible.
Impossible. So you got to be able to empower people to do what they do best, to help you do what you do best,
right.
in the vision that's big enough so that everybody can see themselves in it.
Right.
That's the power of it all.
Well, I tell everybody this, and I tell it's like, like you said earlier, I don't understand why. I don't think it's just our generation, but it's majority of us, because I pay attention to majority of us. We think we're self-made, or we think we can do it on our own. And I'm like, especially these youngsters, I'm like, you can't do it. It's impossible to do anything on your own.
I wonder sometimes we feel we got to prove ourselves to get that street cred that maybe when we were younger, you riding bikes, we do our thing, you got to fight at school after 3 o'clock,
right?
Whatever.
Right.
It's like you would do it in that time, right? Like, it's like, why do you feel you got to prove yourself so much? And
right.
Trust me, I get it. I don't know what kind of complex you call it. I'm not a psychologist, but dog, I'd rather have a crew I can ride with. If I just had 3 or 4 dogs with me, which I do, and you get that nice little tight circle,
right,
man, you can do whatever.
Right.
You can take over the world if you want to.
Jay-Z said this. It's a quote, and Jay-Z said, his definition of success is not him having it, but everybody else around him having it.
I believe in that wholeheartedly. With my clients, if you're successful, you will speak more from me than I can do them all.
Absolutely.
More, and I like it when I see, like I had a client yesterday. We were in a meeting. We had to pitch her business plan for a triple net commercial space. Long story short, and it was amazing to see the work we put in, how comfortable she was, the broker was, me, etc. And we played our role, and to see them receive it. We're waiting for an answer back now, but so far it's been good. Mm-hmm. But when my clients are happy, I'm like, man, listen. And my wife is happy because she's proud to see me doing things, and I'm proud that she's helping me. Man, it's good to see other people thrive, and when you can be selfless like that,
right?
It's humbling, but it's a cool feeling to see somebody else do good, man.
Right.
Off of what you helped them get.
So I want to talk about that quickly. You said the word selfless, right? Not selfish, selfless, mm-hmm. right? How important is passion in what you're doing? Because don't get me wrong, in what you're doing is very lucrative, or it could be very lucrative,
yeah,
right?
You can.
You can make a lot of money, you can build a lot of relationships, and you gain a lot of access and a lot of power.
Yeah.
In what you're doing. But if it's not your passion, do you think that's something that's going to last for a long time, or what?
You have to be, I think, a creative at heart and be passionate about the pursuit of just really being not perfect, but whatever God put in you, mm-hmm. that's got to burn so hot, man. And it ain't going to burn hot 24/7, trust me. And I think consistency in your pursuit to just be the best that you are, whatever that is, if we can do that, that will burn a passion through you in your pursuit to really just do that all the time.
Right.
Right. And there's discipline, though. And that's the hard part, because the passion burns and dies down. That pursuit and that consistency, like going to the gym every day or whatever, eating a certain way every day, that's where people fall short. That mental fortitude of, no, when I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not perfect. I do fall off sometimes, but that's where we lose it.
Right.
That's where we lose it.
You talking about gym, man? We don't go to the gym no more. They got surgeons do all that now.
Y'all keep letting them people stick y'all with that needle. Listen.
Shout out to y'all that don't go to the gym and y'all go to the surgeon. Nah, I'm messing with y'all, man.
You get in trouble over here.
Right. You got to get it out the mud.
Man, listen.
So look, Coach, let me ask you this. If somebody wanted to partner with you, or if somebody wanted to do some type of joint venture with you, how can they reach you? What is your websites? What are some ways, some businesses, opportunities that you got going right now?
We got a few things going. We're actually teaching people now more than ever, not just how to start your business from scratch. I love the minority certification piece. We have to have it, but we're introducing more so. I've done it, but more so how to acquire an existing business. So coach10k.com has all my links in it. Easy way to get me, coach the number 10, the letter K.com. If you go onto the website directly, it's thecoachaustin.com. Definitely make sure when you're on the links, right, you apply for Bank Ready. The reason why I say apply for Bank Ready, we got to vet everybody. Because as you know, nowadays, you just can't just take everybody on. I'm not for everybody, but it allows me to kind of see who you are, what's going on, answer all those questions. And at the bottom, type in what you're really trying to do, where you met me, that kind of thing, and then we'll vet it out and be able to respond accordingly.
That's dope.
Yeah,
That's
man.
dope.
Yeah, man.
So before we get out of here, I want you, I don't know if you're an avid reader or audiobook reader. I want you to give us at least 2 books that help you in your journey from the beginning to this point.
Ooh, good one. Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson. Heck of a book.
That's heavy.
Yeah. That has been the secret for a lot of us, and it should be on everybody's coffee table.
Yeah, that's heavy right there.
They're really good. I'm going to say the Quran and the Bible.
Okay.
Got to have those 2. Always have those 2. Yes, I'm Christian, but if you, again, learn your history, you'll see they dovetail quite well. Most recently, in the last probably 2 years, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game.
Okay.
Money Master the Game is a heck of a book. I always do 48 Laws of Power. There's so many books. But Money Master the Game, I like a lot. Shout out to Ian Dunlap. He turned me on to that book. It's a thick read. It's a study. Heck of a book.
Right.
Once we learn the money game and how that works, it helps business out a lot.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing that's really hurting a lot of us, understanding money and that relationship. So that would be the books I recommend.
And I think also, you saying that, I think like gaining access and gaining power, like I think the 48 Laws of Power, they kind of talk about that. But I think also sometimes it's a favor. Before everybody knows on the show, I got to give some type of Bible scripture or some type of quote. I think it's favor to some people. I think some people they just have it and they're just going to be granted it because it was for them. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, that favor, like you said earlier, consistency, discipline, right?
Yeah.
And they just at the right place at the right time. They got the right relationship.
Favor.
That's favor, right? But that's not everybody.
No.
Right? I want everybody to know that's not everybody. Now look, it's not everybody. All right. So, but Coach, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. So, so look, before we get out of here, I want you to give the people your Instagram, your social medias, if they want consulting and if they want to team up, mentorship, whatever. How can they get in contact with you one more time?
Got it. Yeah, Coach John Austin on Instagram, Coach John Austin on Twitter, on LinkedIn, Coach10k, Coach10k.com. All my links are there. Okay, hit up the website. Make sure to get with me. Apply for Bank Ready. Are you Bank Ready? There's a little tab on my Coach10k.com card. Fill that all out, right? Let me know what you're trying to do. So when I look at it, I read it because I get a few a day. When I read it, I know what I can do to help you out. We got a mentorship program coming up next month, actually in August. And August 9th, y'all see a link on that. It'll say Minority Certification Q&A. I got a class I'm doing. It's a 3 or 4 hour class. Click on that link. Reserve your spot for that class. I'm giving all this game 3 to 4 hours. At least 3 to 4 hours. So eat your Wheaties because it's going to be good.
Guys, look, I encourage you. Look, I'm not saying this because I'm just talking. I'm saying this because I do this myself. I have to learn myself with this government contractor thing. I'm telling you, go to the website, click on the tabs, get with this brother. He's very knowledgeable. Trust me. He was referred by Deanna. Shout out to Deanna again. She gonna talk about me. Shout out to Deanna again for letting us do that, have that relationship. But guys, make sure you hit Coach up. He's gonna help you out. And look, when you guys do get help, I want you guys to hit us in a DM with y'all testimonial. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to see us as a people build so we could be economically powerful, so we could make things happen for us. Guys, this is me. You know I am DJ